Welcome to the Deep Dive. We're here to take that whole stack of sources you have, the articles, the research, all the furious debate, and really just pull out what matters. And today, our mission is a deep, focused look at a really high-stakes NFL divisional playoff game. We've got the San Francisco 49ers heading north to Seattle to face the Seahawks.
And this is, exactly the kind of matchup that just creates tons of compelling material for us to dig into. We've got this lively sports debate, a really detailed one, analyzing this third meeting between division rivals.
The third meeting, and we know the history, right? They split the regular season 1-1.
Yeah, and here's the interesting part. The real wrinkle, the road team won both of those games.
That immediately just throws the whole home field advantage thing into question, doesn't it?
Completely, but what the sources honed in on, right away, was that since this is the third time they're playing, there are no secrets.
Not at all.
Yeah.
The margin for error is razor thin. And so the whole debate, it seems like it just centered on one thing, the X factor.
Absolutely. The thing is, the experts in our source material, they didn't agree on one X factor. They actually came up with 4 totally conflicting ideas.
4 different ones.
4. From, specific players all the way to coaching philosophies. All of them, they argue, could decide the final outcome. So we're going to spend the next few minutes unpacking which argument, holds the most weight for you, the listener.
Okay, let's start with San Francisco's offense, because the sources are pretty blunt about the Niners' struggles against the Seattle defense. They only scored a combined 20 points across 2 games. 20, 17-1, and then just a miserable 3 points in the other one?
Yeah.
That really sets the tone for this whole thing.
It does, and that struggle, it leads us straight to the first proposed X factor, which, interestingly, belongs entirely to the Seahawks.
Okay.
Their quarterback, Sam Darnold.
So why him? Why is a quarterback who wasn't really, lighting it up downfield, why is he being called the most critical piece here?
It's all rooted in this one fundamental idea for Seattle. If Sam Darnold doesn't turn the ball over, they will win this game. Full stop.
So it's not about making big plays, it's about avoiding the big mistake.
Exactly. His importance isn't about being spectacular, it's about not being catastrophic. The sources point out that the second half of the season was just plagued by errors. Really bad interceptions at the worst times.
Okay, so then how did their offensive coordinator, Clint Kubiak, how did he deal with that problem in that must-win Week 18 game?
They basically put him in a protective bubble. They adopted this strategy of, extreme protection. It was almost like they were running a 4-minute drill from the third quarter on.
A 4-minute drill in the third quarter.
Yeah. The sources looked at his depth of target in that game, and it was the second lowest of the entire year for that offense.
How low are we talking?
A mere 5.2 average air yards per attempt.
Wait, 5.2 yards. Okay, so for you listening, that number it's incredibly revealing. It means they were basically giving up on any high-risk deep throws.
They were trading them for guaranteed chain-moving stuff underneath. It was an offense that was, terrified of its own quarterback making a mistake.
That's a pretty strong way to put it. It shows a total lack of trust.
A profound lack of trust in him to make those intermediate and deep throws under pressure. They just wanted short, controlled passes, a lot of play action, keep the clock moving, and keep the ball safe.
But, there's a flip side, right? You can't just not make mistakes in the playoffs.
Yeah.
You have to actually score.
And that's the problem. The sources were quick to point out they went 0 for 3 in the red zone in a prior game against the Niners, and Darnold flat out missed a wide open touchdown throw.
So the formula for Seattle is, be super conservative for 50 yards, but then you have to be perfectly aggressive and precise for the last 20.
It's a high wire act. And for a quarterback whose confidence they've been, managing all season long, that's a huge ask.
Okay, so that conservatism on Seattle's side, it really shifts the pressure right back onto the 49ers and their offensive issues. Which brings us to the big one, personnel. George Kittle is out, and the sources expect Seattle's defense to just key big time on Christian McCaffrey, on CMAC.
That's the core dilemma for Kyle Shanahan. He wants to go to CMAC all day, every day, right? Running the ball, throwing it to him out of the backfield.
Of course, he's their best player.
But the Seahawks defense, led by Mike McDonald, they know this. They know he's the primary option, especially with Kittle gone and not threatening those seams over the middle.
So if Kittle's gone, they can just shift their safeties, bring the linebackers up, and just, stack the box and dare someone else to beat them.
They absolutely are daring them. The sources are pretty unified on this. For the 49ers to have a shot, other guys, specifically Purcell and Jennings, they have to step up and win one-on-one.
So the whole game plan is establish the run with Siak and then hope the play action works when the linebackers take that one false step forward.
Exactly. And if those guys can't win those matchups, the Niners offense is just going to stall out, just like it did when they scored 3 points.
So we've got 2 X factors so far, and they're both focused on specific players executing. But some experts in the sources, they argue it's not about the players at all.
Right. They say the biggest factor is something else entirely. The coaches.
X factor number 3, Kyle Shanahan and Robert Saleh.
And this is a powerful argument because it really gets at the strategic chess match. Shanahan is described as being stuck in this weird place.
A weird place, how?
He's trying to win a playoff game, but he's also having to generate points and keep his own defense, which the sources call decimated by injury off the field.
Yeah, that's a brilliant way to frame it. His impulse is to lean on C-Mac, slow the game down, right? But if those long, slow drives only end in field goals, his tired defense just has to go right back out there.
And that's the choice he has to make. Protect his injured defense or go for the touchdown. It's why the sources gave Shanahan all the credit for that win over Philly. Not the players, but him.
What they point to.
His commitment to the run game, even when it wasn't working at first. And then the genius of calling that trick play the pass from Jennings to C-Mac. That was a schematic win. The argument is that if Shanahan can scheme his way out of this injury crisis, he's the X factor.
Okay, so what about Robert Saleh on the other side? His defense has to be perfect.
Absolutely disciplined. They have to do exactly what they did in that second Niners game. Force turnovers on downs, make them settle for field goals, which, they only allowed 1 of.
But that's a huge challenge, because didn't the sources also say that just a few weeks before, that same defense was letting guys like Caleb Williams do whatever he wanted?
They did, and that's the thing. That difference is stark. Saleh has to prove that dominant performance was the new standard, not just a one-off.
Right, so if Shanahan wins the play-calling battle, the Niners have a great shot.
But this conversation, it leads us right into X factor number 4. The quarterback who will either, benefit from Shanahan's genius or have to overcome everything on his own.
Brock Purdy.
And
the argument here is that he's the true X factor because he has to, what's the phrase, play above their skis more than any other quarterback in the playoffs.
And this is where the sources get really provocative. They lay out a few reasons why all the pressure is on Purdy. First, some experts see Seattle as fundamentally the better team right now.
Wait, I have to stop you there. Seattle is the better team. The Niners have won 7 straight divisional playoff games. They just beat them. How are the sources justifying that?
It's purely about health and depth. They see San Francisco's injuries, especially on defense, and losing Kittle as so significant that Seattle's roster right now is just superior.
Okay.
Second, because Seattle is seen as the favorite, the pressure is all on the underdog QB to pull off the upset. And third, Darnold's job is just to manage the game. Purdy's job is to compensate for a huge talent gap.
So if he doesn't have his weapons, and he's facing a defense that's locked in on his best player, what specifically does he need to do?
The experts argue that to pull off this upset of relatively significance, Purdy has to have one of the best games he's ever played. And this isn't about dinking and dunking.
Right.
He will need to make what the sources call 3 or 5 legit holy smokes throws.
Holy smokes throws. Okay, what does that look like in practice? What is that throw?
They're defined as high-risk, high-reward throws over the intermediate middle of the field. The ones that have to go right over a linebacker's hands into that tiny window in front of the safety.
Hardest throw in football.
The absolute hardest part of the field to attack. If he makes those throws, the defense has to back off C-Mac. If he misses, they could easily be interceptions. Purdy has to take risks that Darnold is being coached not to take.
That's a massive burden for any QB, let alone one without his top guys.
It is. If the 49ers win, the sources are basically saying it's because Purdy carried a decimated roster.
Which brings us back to that word decimated. Let's talk about that defense. How is Robert Saleh managing a unit with only 4 players left who started in week 1?
I mean, this is where the story gets really good. The sources detail this astonishing performance from the backups, especially the linebackers. They're the group that's been the rug that really held the defense together.
And these are guys who came from nowhere, really.
Pretty much. You've got 2 main names. First, Eric Kendricks. He's a former All-Pro who the Niners signed around Thanksgiving.
Right.
But here's the context. Kendricks hadn't really played meaningful snaps until, 3 weeks ago.
Yeah.
He's a big-name player who was basically on the street.
And the other guy has an even crazier backstory.
Yeah, Garrett Wallow. He is a complete journeyman. The sources noted he was cut by the Broncos this season and had only racked up 4 tackles total in his 4-year career across 4 different teams.
4 tackles in 4 years. And then what happened?
And then he leads the 49ers with 11 tackles in the huge game against Philadelphia.
That's unbelievable. So what was their combined impact against the Eagles?
They didn't just fill in, they ball out, as the sources put it. They combined for 21 tackles, 10 run stops, 2 tackles for loss. And most importantly, Wallow had the game-sealing pass breakup on 4th down.
So these guys, they basically stabilized a defense that on paper should have just completely folded.
Exactly, and the depth they've suddenly created is so important because we still have to talk about the possible return of the anchor of that unit.
Fred Warner, is he going to play?
He's trying. He's described as a game changer if he can suit up on Saturday. I mean, his leadership, his instincts, just changes everything. But the surprising thing is, because of Kendricks and Wallow, even if Warner is limited, that linebacker group is now. It's shockingly resilient.
That is a huge, huge shift from where they were just a few weeks ago. So what does this all mean for you, the listener, trying to figure this all out? You've got Darnold's conservatism, CM Keene's containment, Shanahan's strategy, Purdy's heroics. How do you put that all together?
I think it means we're looking at this core tension, you know? Between history and reality, if the 49ers have this incredible playoff pedigree, 7 straight divisional wins, they know how to win these games. But reality is the margin for error is 0 this time. The strategy has to be perfect. It all hinges on whether Shanahan's play calling can protect Purdy or if Purdy himself has to rise above it all and make those holy smokes throws.
That connection, between the perfect strategy and just flawless execution.
Yeah.
It really defines these games. It reminds me of that historical reference the sources brought up.
Yeah, from the 2001 NFC divisional game, the Packers beatdown.
They cited that 50-yard bomb from Kurt Warner to Torrey Holt.
The 7-deep play. Holt caught it with, amazing concentration between 2 defenders. He said he never even took his eyes off the ball, and Warner just dropped a flat-out dime.
And that single moment, it just encapsulates everything we've been talking about. A perfect play call, a perfect throw, perfect execution. That one play defines their legacy in that game. And that's what we're watching for. Which X Factor is going to produce that flat-out dime moment that breaks this thing open?
Which brings us to the final provocative thought for you to take into the weekend. If the sources are right, if Seattle is the better team and is expected to win, does all the pressure actually shift to them? And if they're carrying that weight of expectation, does that mean the 49ers, despite all their injuries, are actually the team with the psychological edge?